Minasan, okari nasai. Today I will be recapping everything, well, hopefully everything that happened in the Love Live franchise, including songs, lives, guest appearances, and anime from all the groups. Now a year is a long time and I'm just one person, so I'm bound to have forgotten something important. I hope not, but if I did, feel free to just mention it down below. Alright, let's just jump right into it, and actually let's start off with something really strong. Idolmaster and Love Live released a song together called Ijigen Big Bang to coincide with the big collab festival that they had, featuring basically every active group from both franchises, and it also happened fairly recently. Though to rewind, right at the beginning of the year, some of the girls from each of the 4 active groups were guests at the all-night Nippon event. And 3 months later was another one, but just having Furi, Omori, and Sayuri. Sayuri again, with Kyan and Mayuchi, represented the groups over in America at the Anime Expo in LA. All of Hasu, Sora, 2 Niji girls, and 4 Aqua ladies were all at Anime Japan as well. The Bushi Rock Festival had Liella, minus Liu, due to health reasons, them even doing a collab with Bang Dream's Morphonica. But also Mayu, Chiami, and Coco represented Niji, doing a collab with half of Piki Piki, and other leaders from Bandori and D4DJ. On a little side note, YP was there, but with Piki Piki, but also not performing on the collab song, which is a very odd choice. But both Liella and Niji again were at Anisama, all of Liella, but only half of Niji. Then for a little fun fact, Riho, Emi, and Mayu attended one of the shows for Liella's third as audience members. Always nice to see the Muse girls still supporting the franchise and Mayu supporting her kohai. But for a few more Muse related things, at the beginning of the summer, there was a Love Live Thanksgiving festival having girls from the first 4 groups, those being Riho, Sora, Aina Suzuki, Aida, Maria, Mayu, Chiami, Hinaki, Kuma, and Nozomi. Then the second year Muse girls by themselves also had a live stream towards the end of April. Ida and Tokui again also did a little live stream to promote the newly released mobile game. And the last little fun thing, Love Live started the year with an amazing live stream featuring 2 girls from each of the first 4 groups, and they played Old Maid. Very entertaining, I had to mention it. Mostly because of Ida's now iconic Uno moment, and I honestly just love seeing the Muse girls even if it's not on stage. Next year, in March, the franchise will have a subunit only live, featuring literally every single unit in the franchise that's active, including Sunny Passion and even Saint Snow and YYY. Though when it comes to Niji, Akari won't be there at all, Mayu will only be on day 2, and YP will only be on day 1. I assume this is all due to prior commitments. Unfortunate that such a big event won't have literally everyone. But with so many girls, it is bound to happen that some will be busy. But also half of Aqua along with all of Liella will be at the Chojigen Fest in February, but on different days. And lastly, at the end of March, Muse will have an orchestral concert. Well, it is technically a Love Live show, but all of Muse will be there aside from Shika, Sora, and Najo. So now let's move on to the groups themselves, starting with Aqua of course. There was a new anime, Sunshine in the Mirror, having the girls in a fantasy setting. And actually this means new music, the opening being one of my favorite songs of the whole year. And keep in mind not all these songs were sang by everyone. These were also all released on a new album called Mina no Oto. Oh, and that last one, Deep Blue, is the theme for the game that came out last month. There's even a card game version announced for late February. But aside from these, they also had the song Sora Fuji Sunshine. The girls had their 2 extra concerts, It's a Mukundai World, the Valentine's Day event, and the White Day event. Judging by the names, I'm sure you can figure out when they happened, and they even performed with Hatsune Miku. And there was also a 3-day live event themed after the new anime just a few weeks ago. They had a rock and roll CD titled Blue Swell, having 10 of their prior songs remixed into rock versions. 3 of them were guests at the all-night Nippon event, which I'm now realizing I already said earlier, but whatever, I guess I'll just keep it in. Then YYY did a bunch of live radio events, one being in Numazu where their story takes place. Though Furi had to back out of that one due to poor health. But there was another Numazu event though, a festival in October, 3 days with a different set of 3 girls each day. Some of the animated ladies got their 3rd solo albums last year, and the remaining 6 got theirs this year. Those being all of these on screen here. And to end off, all of Aqua did a photo shoot with the My Girl magazine, appearing on issue 37. And of course, it wouldn't be Love Live without a bunch of little baseball events. So now let's move on to Nijigasaki. All 4 subunits had their first full solo lives, with Rebirth Revolution happening in January. Azuna Lagoon was in February, which was the final performance of Tomori as Setsuna. Diver Diva's Galactic Trip was also in February, and Quartz Fluffy Magic was in March. They had their Nijitabi fan meet tour, 6 shows in 6 different prefectures, 1 in April, 2 in May, 1 in June, and 2 in July. All 2 days each, and none of these had all 12 girls, but usually 4 or 5, with Coco actually being at all of them. She was really getting some good practice. Oh, that's right, I guess I forgot to mention, this year in March we got the reveal of Coco Hayashi. former Run Girls Run member, to be our new Setsuna Yuki. Really excited for her, she's already become one of my favorites in the whole industry. But anyway, most of the other girls had 2 appearances aside from Hinaki, Miyu, Moipi, and Akari. Hinaki probably because she is kind of secondary despite low-key being the main character, and then the other 3 are the busiest girls not only in Niji but the whole franchise in my opinion. But also Mayu, Oguri, and Coco were at Aniera representing Niji, and then their 6th live, I Love You, You Love Me. Somebody at Lit Live is clearly a fan of Barney the Purple Dinosaur. And I'm not sure if this video will be going up before or after, but this live will be on December 23rd and 24th. And then part 2 of it will be in mid-January next year. No new full anime for them, but they did have a new OVA called Next Sky, giving us new music, Go Our Way being another one of my favorite songs for the whole year. There was also their chibi spinoff titled Nijion, and then here are some other songs that they released this year, that last one being the most Japanese song I've ever heard. Then finally for them, a pretty big thing, Nijigasaki won the singing award at the 17th Seiyu Awards. Next year, pretty early on, they'll have a new song, New Year's March, coupled with Radio Taiso Daiichi, along with 3 new movies scheduled to begin airing, though I doubt all 3 will be next year. Probably more like 1 each year for the next 3 years. And then they will also have Nijion Part 2 in April. Next up, Liella were very, very busy. Honestly, the franchise needs to let them chillax for a bit. First up, they got their 2 new members, one being someone we already knew, that being Margaret, and the other one being Natsumi's little sister, Tomari, played by Sakura Sakakura. We also got their subunits announced, with one of them having 5 members, the first time ever. The names and compositions are Kachu, having Kanan, Sumire, and Mei, Kaleidoscore with Kuku, Ren, and Margaret, and then Synchrise giving us Chisato, Kinako, Shiki, Natsumi, and Tomari. And of course, it's Love Live, so you know both the S's in Synchrise are actually 5s, because there's like 5 members, you know? Like, we get it, Love Live. You're cool and hip. Anyway, at the very end of last year, they performed at the New Year's Countdown event, but also their 3rd live tour, which started in December of last year, ended in March of this year, having 7 total shows, 5 of which were this year. But they also had their 4th tour, Brand New Sparkle, 2 shows in August, the Kaleidoscore and Kachu versions, while the Synchrise edition was in September. Aside from this, they were guests at the Yokohama Valentine's Beyond the Dimension Festival, Hiroshima's Alarm Clock TV show, Countdown Japan, Songs of Tokyo Fest, Fuji TV's Music Fair, Billy Billy Macro Link, and a White Schwarz event. They also performed at the Inazuma Rock Fest, though they got rained on pretty hard, but it didn't faze them, because they are absolute legends. And they were also at the Mega Vegas show hosted by the rock group Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, not to be confused with the movie of the same name. And lastly, they were even at the NHK's Venue 101 event. The K-pop group Tomorrow Together was there too, shoutouts to their Black Clover opening, absolute banger. New music for Liella includes A Miracle New Story, coupled with Kirkyun, then also the song Universe, and a new mini-album, Jump Into the New World. 1 song from the group as a whole, then 2 from each subunit. There was also a full album titled Second Sparkle, the title track having a live music video. They were also on the cover for the March issue of Young Jump. Then finally for them, Nako and Kuma represented the group at the Moshi Fest in Shibuya. Oh, and Liella's April Fool's joke kind of won the whole year, with them portraying office workers in a slightly toxic environment. You can most likely find subtitles on here somewhere. It is very funny. Next year, they will have an untitled track to be released in mid-January. The title might even be out by the time this video goes up. They will be guests at the Lise Annie show very early on, but they're also going to have their 5th live Twinkle Triangle, 2 shows in January and 2 in February, as well as the 3rd season of their anime. So it seems they will not be chillaxing next year either. Really hope none of them get injured, but okay, let's move on to the next group, Hasu no Sora. The Love Live virtual group fully debuted. We got a lot of info about them. Instead of me promptly introducing them like it's a guide video to their group, I'll just keep it simple and show pictures. If you notice, their names will be in different colors. Those are their image colors. Also, I will only say this seiyu's first name, as you can see their full names in the photos. So first up is their leader, I believe, Kaho Hinoshida, played by Nozumi, Suzuri Yuguri, played by Kotoko, Rurino Osawa, played by Kana, Kokona portrays Sayaka Murano, Nina plays Kozui Otomune, and lastly Kona plays Megumi Fujishima. Literally all of the seiyu names start with N or K. TLDR on these girls, to me they are meant to be the successors to Nijigasaki, kind of like how Liella is to Aqua. If you notice, Hasu no Sora doesn't have a team name and instead are named after their school, but also they don't focus on group songs. But whereas Niji are individual performers, Hasu no Sora are duo units, those being Mirakura Park having Kana and Kona, Seris Bouquet giving us Nina and Nozumi, and the amazingly named Dalkestra housing Kotoko and Kokona. Yeah, I can definitely see this being very confusing to initially understand, but in total they gave us a little over 30 songs between them as a whole and the units. I personally really like On Your Mark and Deepness. Of these songs, some were on a full album, Natsumeki Pain, and some were on an EP, Dream Believers. They had their first live event, Bloom the Dream, which was more of a fan meet talk event, but of course there were some songs sprinkled in. This was in June, but then a few months later was their first proper full live, titled Run Can Fun. 3 separate weekends, one of which at the end of October, and the other 2 in mid and late November. But they also had their first guest appearance at the Summer Station Live. I actually initially thought they'd be performing as virtual idols like the Project Sakai series, but nope, they go all flesh and bones for their lives. Though they honestly had a really strong first year, and I'm excited for their future. Now is actually the perfect time to get invested since it's so early in their career, you can watch them grow and grow with them. They also have a YouTube channel dedicated only to them, and they upload very often and do lots of live streams. Also, when it comes to their music, they even cover already existing Love Live songs, like the debut songs from all prior groups. Also an assortment of Vocaloid and anime songs. If that piques your interest, well, definitely go for it. And with that, we have reached the ending. I'll just skip the closing thoughts on this one, since this video already had a lot to digest. If this is your first video of mine, well, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will subscribe. I don't ask often, and I don't ask for much in general, but I'm pretty close to 1,000, so that'd be pretty cool. Please join me in the next one about what happened with all of the Seiyu within the franchise. That one will definitely be very long, and I look forward to seeing you there.